Hello and welcome to another Mac Trains. Today I wanted just to take my time and go through with you the HM7000 system. You'll see in front of us here we have a 00 scale Bachmann Class 08, which is in BR green. It's an older model. It has the HM7000 chip. I use it vertically just behind the front grille, and the speaker is housed in the cab area underneath the glazing level, so it's not overly noticeable from outside. So I've got here, and I've got my iPad screen which has been mirrored onto the desktop, so you can see there everything I'm doing on my iPad, which is out of shot and to your right. So if I move my iPad up and so on, that's what's happening. So first of all, you can see in the top right corner here, this is a green Class 08. It's the only one I've got on here just now. I usually use my iPhone for the TT120. We might look at that in a moment. There are simple controls at the top. There's a slider, which you literally place your finger on a touchscreen device and you slide it. You can set different settings so that it's instant response or drag and drop, so it doesn't do anything until you drop it where you want. You have a plus button and a minus button to increase it incrementally one step at a time. And you have stop, which does what it says in the tin. Brake will, as long as you press it, it'll reduce the speed gradually, fairly quickly, but it'll bring it down not in an instant. And as soon as you take your finger off brake, it'll return again to the speed step that it's set at. And these two are simply the directional controls, one way or the other. That's the basic control, so let's just work that as we have it. Apologies, a very wild night here if you're hearing the storm outside. Not much I can do about that. Let's move it up, and there we go, moving straight away. That's at speed 13. I move it up to 50. I'll stop it because I'm running out of track. Bring it back. Same thing, and I'm going to press the brake shortly. There, you can see it grey out and it brings it to a stop. I let go. It starts moving again. Brake it, bring it to a controlled stop, and press the actual stop button. Stop it moving again. So very simple. That's your basic control of HM7000, and you can see that from what I'm doing here is being mirrored here in virtually real time, and you can see how quickly it responds to the commands. Bring it up again. And there we go. Right. For slow speed, this is it showing up here, speeds 1. That is it now moving at its slowest crawl, which I think certainly counts as pretty slow. It is moving, I promise you. But only just. Okay, let's not torture ourselves too much. Give a little bit of movement just to bring it back to the center of the shot. Press stop, and it stops. That's your basic control. And when there are available the non-sound Bluetooth decoders, that I assume is really all you will have. If you have accessories, and right now that might be through the HM6010 device, you will have at the top here your accessories. You can load them in and you can touch them to switch points or a light, or even I think drive possibly a turntable device or something else like that. So there's plenty of options, plenty of scope. One HM6010 device can control 4 accessories, but you can have multiple HM6010s, and they can also take power. If it is a DCC system you're operating, they can take power directly from the track, so there's not multiple power adapters required. I should say, you can just about see off camera here, I'm using the 4 amp 15 volt Hornby mains transformer that is recommended for, well, really a larger, certainly substantially larger than this, but a larger layer of some kind, and it gives it no question there have been plenty of juice supplied at any one time. Right, that's the very simple things. But what we all want to find out about is sound. Now you can see here there are 3 pages, page 1, page 2, page 3. Let's start at page 1. So here you have on the bottom part of the screen the various functions built in to HM7000. This doesn't have any lights. That's a standard function. That's not relevant for this device. But you may have a diesel that does have lights fitted, in which case you've got your option there. Multiple horns. So that's the 2 horns back and forth there. Okay, now that's clearly not right when it's not moving, but just to work through, that's brake squeal. The number under each one relates to the, if you were using a traditional DCC system, to identify what function activates which sound or feature. Diesel notch up, idle, none of that's going to work unless the engine starts. Let's start the engine in the top right, rather hidden by the glare there, apologies for that. I should say you can also adjust the volume, which I think is under here. No. There we are, global volume. I tend to find it's a bit thrashy if you go up further, but just so you can go a lot louder than I tend to have it set at. I prefer to be under 20, under 30. I think that's suitable to the scale. Right, go back to controls. So engine start is on, which means now diesel notch up. Diesel notch down. Engine thrash, giving it some beans as you're faced with a steeper hill or some such thing. So all the options are there. Now, cold start, not directly relevant right now because it has already started. I turn off the sound. So on a cold morning, your engine's starting to get going, diesel cold start. And you can see he's having a struggle to get firing this morning. Take off the cold start. And it soon fires into life. Okay, so that is page 1. Page 2. I don't understand what all these do, but you might. So we'll give them a go. In fact, we'll probably turn off sounds so that if there is anything that we need to hear without it, you'll hear it more clearly. Compressor. Reverser. Forgive my pronunciation. Spirax valve. Not a lot to that one, I've got to be honest. Air release valve. Two versions of it. Flange squeal again. You have brake squeal on page 1, you have flange squeal on 2, and this is one that stays on until you turn it off. You also have detonators. Coupling sound. Diesel primer. So you do that before you start the engine, presumably. Exhauster. Moving on to page 3. Brakes. That presumably applies when it's actually got sound operating. Decoupling. You probably barely make that out. There is a sound playing at that point. Auxiliary lighting modes. I don't have any additional lights, there's no point in that. Handbrake. Okay, now automated function control. This basically mimics what the expected sounds might be. It's guessing what you would try to do if you were in full control of the device. You can set it going automated function control, let it off and run, and it'll make various chirps and peeps at you as it moves along, which is quite a useful feature. I quite like this. So it's the same startup to begin with. Now if we go off and move, it will toot as it goes off without me doing anything else. Release the steam valve, rev up, give a wee toot, and off it goes. Bring it back. Apply the brakes. So you hear the brake squeal happen that time as well. Automated function control, excellent little feature. Shunting mode. As far as I can tell, this basically reduces top speed and allows the 1 to 100 setting of speed steps to effectively be covering now 1 to 50. So it's going slower for each speed step you would work it at. So that is it now at speed step 4, really just crawling along. Bring it up to 25, there's still not much speed there really. Bring it right down. That's at speed step 1 and shunting mode. Okay. Turn off automated function control. So that's your operation. Oh, I forgot to actually stop it moving. That's your basic operation of HM7000. Now, there's much more that can be done within the settings. You have linked accessory devices. I don't have it in this case, but this is how you would use this app to link HM6010 devices. You have your track builder. Now, this does not yet allow for a touchscreen interactive track plan where you can tap the point and it will shift the HM6010 at the right place on your layout. That seemingly is a feature that will come, but I certainly wouldn't be holding my breath for that. And I don't think it's a deal breaker at this point at all. I know other systems do have that. It is a good feature, but I think it's reasonable to expect that these are things we built in and not to start off with in the earlier days of a new setup. And then the gear icon is your settings. You can see the devices that are connected. You can link a new device, you can manage the devices, you can add locos to your engine shed and so on, and check up on everything else you've got. You have here example slider behavior, which is live. You can have drag and drop as well, which actually what I usually have it at. I must have reset that somehow. Live swiping is as you move it, it will move with you. Drag and drop is get it where you want it, bring your finger away, and then it'll start adjusting speed to whatever you've moved it to. You've got a full function setup, you can reduce that. Accessories toolbar is enabled here, but if you were never going to use any accessories, you would disable it to give yourself a little bit more screen real estate at the top of the screen. App inactivity control is disabled. If you want, you can enable that, so when you move away from the app on your device for any reason, it will shut everything off. Depends how you want to work it. And that's that. There's tutorial videos, FAQs. That takes you obviously out of the app and on up to Hornby's either YouTube channel or website. But it is an excellent system. I'm trying to think, is there anything I've missed? There likely is. In local settings, possibly. You can move this whole thing to DCC mode here, where having set it up the way you want it using the app, very quickly you flick it into DCC mode and you use your standard DCC controller, whatever that might be, and the chip will respond as expected in that condition. Here you have your acceleration, deceleration rate, effectively your inertia settings. You can have these quite high to simulate a load, or quite low to be more responsive. And you have the volume of your sound chip as well. You can import function maps and so on, depending on how you want the app to be set up. Okay, so I've now updated the Nighthawk, added it onto the iPad HM7000 app. Here you can see the green class 08, which is still red because it's still off. The Nighthawk is now on with power. Then is new loco address number 3. Let me just change that in locomotive settings, which gave me an error for some reason. Updating in process. Well, I didn't know that was happening. It is functioning. So why I think an update is happening right now, I'm not sure. Sounds are all working. While let's see whatever update it's doing, we can try and run through these sounds. Doesn't like me doing anything else though. You can see why I keep it at 25%. It's obviously set too high right now, but anyway. Wheel slip requires it to be moving, I presume. Enough coal shoveling. Injector valve time. And safety valve. And we'll relieve our ears. Let's move on to page 2. See which ones work without that sound turned on. Guard's whistle. Coupling. Carriage brake squeal. Flange. Blower. I suppose you'd have guard's whistle and then doors closing. Fireman's breakfast, there we go, we all like this sound. Slow down. Air pump. And water fill. Moving on to page 3. Chuffing or coasting. Again, that's going to require the local to be in motion, so we'll come back to that. Auxiliary lighting, shunting mode, brake. And the automated function control again. So let's try that. Chuffing off. Coasting on, chuffing on. Hand off. And brake. And stop. Reverse direction. And there we go. So I will try to go back and update this, because it has some error in progress. I do not know what that is doing, but that's going to have to wait for another day. Had I been a bit more patient and pressed the settings icon at the bottom right, I'd have dismissed a pop-up banner, and that was that. Hopefully that has been useful, and thank you again for your time, and trust that you enjoy yourselves working with the HM7000 system. I really do think it's a superb system and can only improve as time goes on. But that gives you a reasonably good overview, I hope. I trust that's been useful, and I think that's more than long enough of me talking once again. And thank you for your patience, and if you have enjoyed this, please do like and subscribe. It does help. It's encouraging to get particularly comments. I do appreciate folk who take the time to comment on these videos, but certainly thank you for watching as well.